All right, howdy, folks. How's it going? Nice, beautiful day today out here in Las Vegas. Probably about, I think it'll turn out to be like 85 degrees. Right now, it's probably maybe, I don't know, 78, something like that, and climbing. Now, I want to have a talk with the family. There's not a whole lot to do today. I'll probably watch the game later on or whatever, see what's going to turn out with that, but particularly that Boston and Philly game. All right, the tables have turned on that. You know the odds, right, with Philly now. Uh, and so is that with Denver too. You know that coach for Phoenix might get fired if what I think what may happen if that happens. The coach from Milwaukee, they're going to bring that dude down there to Phoenix. Okay, but let's just see what happens. Anyway, let's having a talk with you guys about reparations. Now, I want to throw this out right now. Disclaimer: you can get on the comments box and make whatever comment you want to make about me, or I don't know what I'm talking about, or everybody should have. That's your feeling or whatever. That's your thoughts, your feelings, your opinion. Okay, you can say whatever you want to about me personally. Just don't make no threats to me or whatever. Otherwise, I'm going to act. Okay, I'm going to act swiftly and severely. But let me tell you this: it's all political from this point. I told you that. We got an election going on in about 18 months. Whatever these people are going to do between the powers of be or the government or whatever, that's going to do that. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. Okay, at their leisure, and all that we can probably do as a people is prepare. All right. So let's get right into this reparations thing. All right. And these trucks tend to come right at the time where I want to make this video here. So give this truck a minute here to the pass. Or maybe I'm coming up here at a bad time. So the governor of California, his name is Gavin Newsome, all right? And actually, he's going to try to run for president, which I don't think that he'll beat Joe Biden in that debate, okay? Some of you know him, but if you live out west, you know who he is. That he did not support any monetary reparations or something to that effect. Okay, he did support the fact that brought to bring up the topic and all that, and along with the lawmakers of California, so that they NAACP and all that, and they did a study, and in the end, it didn't make any sense. Now, let me say also, I want to say this. I've been meaning to say this. It's true that you could say, yeah, America, they give money to Ukraine and do these wars and all that. Okay. Yeah, well, the Jewish people got their reparations because of the Holocaust. Yeah, well, they own the banks. Guess what? Okay. What else? The Native Americans got theirs, and the Asian people get theirs. Well, guess what? They got a plan. Okay. And I hate to have to say this, but a lot of people that look like me, that we're not on code right now, and we don't have a plan. A lot of us, not all of us, okay? Although I believe that some of us are coming together. And they have to take a more cataclysmic event to bring more and more people that look like me together. That started going away. Another truck there. That started going away during the Great Society movement in the 1960s. Okay? Now, the NAACP, maybe about a month ago, had also said the same thing, where they didn't back the reparations with that $5 million a person or something to that effect. The total package would be something like $800 billion that California would have to dish out. And they probably looked and said, oh, hell no, the state's already broke. What, they got to pass our IOUs or whatever, okay, for tax refunds if they're still doing that. Are they still doing that, y'all? I know like 8 states went bankrupt about 15 years ago. Okay, because all this is because they feel as though it doesn't make any sense from the first place. In the first place, y'all, California was not one of those southern states where they had slavery. Okay, and another thing, and this is what the NAACP was saying. Okay, is that see, California is not one of those states that can talk about race-based policies, but you do see, more and more Hispanic people that are moving to California. Okay, that they're growing in population, and like California and many other states, 6 other states in the Southwest Belt are predominantly Hispanic. Okay, and when you're dealing with these Democrats, even if they were to do something, then what do they get in return? Okay, do they get the vote since, many so-called black people that look like me say, well, no reparations, no vote. Well, they don't really need to vote now because, hey, the Hispanics took over all that, okay? So you may want to consider, if you don't get with the program, you may want to consider another state, maybe like the South or Texas or whatever, all right? Uh, but to be honest with you, if they wanted to do all this, okay, they should have done it either after slavery. That's what I thought, okay? The 40 acres and a mule, which people should have took, okay, which my great-great-grandfather and his brothers took, okay, when they was in Alabama and in Georgia, and like in the 60s or whatever, okay, if they would have done this thing right, again, we wouldn't have had this problem. They had 2 civil rights movements, acts, one in 1964 and 68, and a lot of people were pushing against, the Brown Board of Education and the Great Society because it denigrated the black community, the so-called black community, because actually the so-called black community was at its strongest between 1940 and 1960. Okay? But I was saying, instead of the first Civil Rights Act, you know what they should have done? They should have done a reparations package. And this is one of the things that Gavin Newsome was talking about, was instead of the money, do land, intellectual property, and grants, okay? So people that look like me could have their own community, okay? And they can take the grants and start businesses and have their own economy. This is what the Asians, the Hispanics, and the Arabic people are doing right now. They're able to come here, all right, and start and, get the grants and all that and get aid, Ukrainian, and start businesses and, to get a piece of the American pie. Then as a community, they can get a bag of money and give it to the politician and tell them what they want to do, okay? They can have their own little police force and all that good stuff, a post office, all that good stuff. All right? But a lot of us, I'm not going to say all of us, a lot of us failed to do that. This is what he was bringing up. But a lot of people want to say the money, okay? And then when they don't get the money, when we don't get the money, then we just throw our hands up and say, oh, the hell with it. Okay? But I'm saying those 3 facets, that's what we need, okay? That way we can generate our own economy so we can be able to do things generationally, generational wealth, or to have something to pass down to our children or our great grandchildren, okay, for the next 1,000 years, okay? But like I say, it would have to take something very cataclysmic to force everybody to look like me back, back together. And a lot of people are actually, again, are starting to do that, okay? In closing, I like to say this. I do support reparations. Where the money is going to get it? Where is the money going to come from? And then what are we going to do with it? I said this before. I made a video about this that everybody's not going to get it. The people that are probably the most deserving of it is people that suffered from like things like the post-Reconstruction. The post-Reconstruction, the suffrage movements, when a lot of those businesses were destroyed, i.e. Rosewood, the Tulsa Wall and Atlanta Wall Street, Huntington Beach up there in New York, okay? And there's several others. I think it was Devil's Punch Bowl, okay, where there were black businesses and those Detroit, okay? A lot of those businesses, and that happened in several other cities with those riots, were destroyed wrongfully. Those are the people that needs to get the reparations and all that, okay? And I think that for cases like those, then, the reparations should be brought up, okay? And then, maybe you could work your way downwards or whatever, okay? But just because your grandmother or your grandfather, okay, or your great-great-grandmother, or let's just say your people just came, they didn't ask to come here or whatever, there's many arguments that many of us, either we were already here or many of us came from Europe, okay, that we chose to come here. There's an argument, instead of 12 million Africans, that there's only about maybe 75,000 that actually came from Africa, because a lot of us, again, were already here or maybe came from like Europe or somewhere like that, okay? Those countries, all right? Migrated to Europe, centuries ago, because the land down in Africa was getting arid, and then came over here in the 15 and 1600s, okay? But that's is the reason why, just because maybe somebody suffered, okay, and maybe did some work or whatever, what they call it at the time, indentured, okay, because white people had their own slaves, though, you know that, right? So if you want to be technical, because in the early corporation of America, black people were slave owners. They had some white, as long as white ones, they had Native Americans, okay? Black people had black people. Who's to say that I may have to give reparations to somebody, or maybe you, okay? Or maybe I have to give it to a Native American person, or I have to give it to somebody white. Who's to say that? Now, that was early corporate America in the early 1600s. That started to become codified around the early 1700s, okay? And so forth, all right? Where many of the slave owners were white and many of the slaves, at the time were so-called black people. So that's my take on it, okay? What if it doesn't make any sense in the first place, okay? Where they're going to get the money from, I know, yeah, we discussed all that or whatever, okay? But they're going to do whatever they want to do. And then what are they going to get when you dealing with these Democrats? All right? You see how they do you, right? How they've been doing you over the last 60 years. So let me know what you think about the video. I thank you for your time. I went well over my time, but this is a serious topic I want to bring up. And at the end of the day, I think that men that look like me, if you start getting back with the Most High and we start coming together, all right, and start regenerating our communities, all right, I know things are not going to be like they are 60 years ago, okay? I think the women will start seeing that, and they will follow, and then that will help generate the community, get it back to where it needs to be, all right? Along with doing legit stuff or whatever, instead of going out, destroying our community, selling drugs and doing all that type of stuff or whatever, not working, being lazy, that type of stuff, all right? I get times I sit around, but look, I'm retired Army, so you know what I'm saying? I mean, so I paid my dues, but you know what I'm saying. But in the end of the day, we all we got. And there's nobody that has an obligation to take care of another person. In the end of the day, no one can take care of you better than you.